5 till 10 till.
So you've got us penciled in for a 50-minute show.
Well, I try to be flexible, sir.
My name's Tom Wise.
Hi, I'm Melinda McKinsey. You're going to unpack some shit with us. It is a Monday
Boom.
after Mother's Day. How was your Mother's Day, sir?
It was fun. Mom's long gone, know, and so there's that sadness, right? Mom's long gone.
Yeah.
And, but, I tell you, I'm lucky. I've got a lot of brothers and sisters. We always have great memories with Mom. She was the best.
What did you used to do when your mom was around? What kind of things did you do with Mom?
Well, it would be, you mean like for on Mother's Day?
Yeah.
It would be flowers and, my gosh, I think that would be Mom's big day. We'd pretend to mess something up in the kitchen and, I was one of 8, so I was rarely in charge of anything.
Yes. That makes sense.
By the time,
so much. Now you're in charge of your whole world.
Master of my domain.
That's right.
Jamie came over and with her boy yesterday, and it was lovely.
Good. Very good.
Patrick, put Patrick to work. He was making stuff, and it was very nice. So,
good. Very good. You had a lot of shows with HSN, didn't
you? Busy weekend. Friday, 4 shows. Saturday, Sunday show. Tonight is show. Mr. Show. Welcome to Mr. Show.
Da, da, da.
So the question is, does the need to pee wake you up, or do you have to pee once you get up?
Yes. I do not know that. I just know no matter what age I've been, if I wake up in the middle of the night, one of my first thoughts is, oh, well, all right, I don't want to get up. I've even tried that whole no, I'm going to go back to sleep. I'm not going to get up. And it doesn't work because your bladder starts screaming at you.
Yeah, you can't unless you're taking a knockout pill or something.
Not doing that. So I don't know the medical evidence. I know the stories, right? As you get older, they say, especially for men, that's what is the medical version of that? Do you know?
It's your prostate is enlarging. So it doesn't allow you to evacuate your bladder completely.
Right. Well, this is fun. I don't know the answer to that. I don't want to wear a diaper. I feel like since the pandemic, I've not had great sleep. I'm usually a good sleeper, but I've got a lot, my mind, I have a hard time turning it off during this time. Normally I can sleep really hard. So when I wake up, within 2 seconds, I'm like, yeah, well, you might as well just get up now. Why fight it?
Can you go back to sleep?
It usually takes me a bit. It's not easy. It's not easy to do. I did. Do you remember when we had Henry Penix on our show? He was talking about this new venture he was doing. So I've started participating in it. It's SAAP and it's like sound energy. So now I have it downloaded on my phone. So I listen to it before I go to bed. There are different energies and sounds that help you sleep, that help change your mood, different things like that. So what I have been doing is I just put that app on because I don't want to look at my phone, right? I don't want to read stuff on my phone because the minute I don't know how anybody can look at their phone and fall asleep because of the light, because of the stories. I can't turn my head off after I look at there's too much interesting bullshit happening in the world.
Even at 4 a.m.
Oh, so what about you? How do you get back to sleep?
I'd say I'm lucky. I've trained myself to put on a podcast. I put my cell phone next to me and I set it for 30 minutes and 99 times out of 100, I'm asleep in 10 minutes.
That's good.
But I put on a board, it's not like I want to listen to Alec Baldwin interviewing, somebody interesting. I don't want to put that on. I'm going to put on comedy improv tips from Jimmy Carrane, where he's interviewing somebody they're droning on about improv, which I might find interesting if I'm driving around. But if I don't know either person, they're just talking in a very whatever, it's like, oh yeah, and I'm out. Or sports, I'll put on a sports thing. I care, but don't care.
Speaking of sports, did you hear about the controversy about the Derby winner?
Look at you. Look at you bringing current topics in. This is crazy. May I circle back to that in a second? I listen to Bill Burr on the regular, semi-regular, right? He does a one-man singular podcast.
Yeah.
He's talking the other day about Kobe Bryant spraining his ankle and Kobe Bryant's going to come back. And it's like, what are you, crazy? You mean LeBron James?
Uh-oh.
And he's done it before.
Even I know.
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing. Is this thing from 3 years ago?
Right.
No, it was 2 days ago.
Ooh.
Are you high or
you know what? I have been researching about dementia because part of me worries as I've gotten older, we all forget things, but part of me worries like, how would I know if I had dementia? Because,
I mean, shouldn't we set up a signal here now while we're clear brained that if I got dementia, the trigger is going to be if I present this coffee can, whatever the signal is going to be, means I'm signaling you that you need to listen to what I'm saying. I'm friendly. You know what I'm saying? Plant some sort of seed now. So when we go crazy, that we trust those that are supposed to help us.
I'm telling you, I really do recommend you watching the Academy nominated film Father with Anthony Hopkins. It shows what dementia feels like from his perspective, and you remember the old Mission Impossibles? Do you remember those? Where I love that show because those were created in an era where that was fantastical, right? Where they would take somebody, change the environment, and make them to believe something that wasn't true. And so I don't know if that set me off, but I've always been worried, like, sometimes I'll say sometimes if I smoke, I'll think, what if I've just made up this whole world? And really, everybody's watching me. I'm in an insane asylum, and I made this all up.
We're in the Matrix. Well, you've seen that where a guy walks into a PortAPotty at a park, right? And then they take like a trailer and they back it in to.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right, and the guy opens up the PortAPotty. He's in a business meeting.
Yes.
You'd want to go. Yes. Your head would spin in a circle. What?
I believe most humans like to be in control, right? We like to feel like we have our faculties. We like to know what's going on. I like to feel like I'm free-spirited, and if someone presents something, I'm open to it. But it's the control of, I know my environment. I know what's going on. So we probably should get some kind of a code or a sign to help each other, because did Bill Burr ever get corrected? Did anybody?
He's by himself, so he's just whatever. So he's just rattling on. He said it twice, and so I went to the internet and I typed in Bill Burr, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Nothing. Something from 6 years ago when he had a conversation. I go, this is crazy, because I swear he did it again the last podcast I was talking to. Listen.
You know what? The other thing about finding things, the Chinese rocket crash this weekend, right?
I thought about you. I hope all our listeners sighed with relief.
I'm alive. I'm back. Well, here's the thing, talking about pulling things up to see what's going on. So, I was aware of the timeline. I would check. I didn't necessarily think it would crash into New York, but I wanted to know because
Friday it is. We'll go on now.
Every story said they did not know. There's no way. We were hoping statistically it's in the water, which it did, Indian Ocean, but pieces of it also crashed into the
Maldives.
Yes, into the Maldives. And so they're looking, right? Because there's over 1,000 of those little islands. They're looking to see like what kind of debris. But here's the thing. I go on the internet, I look at the timeline, and as it gets close to the time, there's like live tracking. So I'm like, I'm down with this. So I'm watching the live tracking and it's getting closer. It's like 3 hours. So I set an alarm so I'll remember to go back and check, right? As I'm watching the live tracking, I'm like, why isn't there more news on this? I was a little frustrated that there wasn't more like news saying, hey, it was all from 3 hours ago, 5 hours. So where do you go if an asteroid's going to hit the Earth? Where do you go?
It's crazy because I'm watching the news the other day. I said, there's no more news. It's just politics. It's just all politics 24/7. You got to go to the BBC if you want to get any speck of news. I mean, do you know about any coal miners somebody trapped in this or a flood over there? Or anything happening, and you don't know anything happening anywhere. It's because it's cheap programming is what it is. They bring in 6 people that will argue for 3 hours, and they bring in 6 fresh more people that are going to argue. Either side, they're both guilty of it. I was like, let's find out what's happening at the Mexican border. Let's go to Fox. Let's find out which black person is let's go to CNN. I was like, I mean, of course, those are important topics, but is that the only topic?
But I want news. I don't want opinions, and I don't know where to get that.
Exactly. No. And we're getting so much opinion. It's insane.
It's very frustrating. So I actually did stay on until I read that it crashed, but it wasn't as easy as you thought because the live tracker stopped. And then I thought
it got hit by the meteorite.
Why'd the live tracker stop? What, I want to know. So it took a minute before and then they're like, oh, it's already landed. Like that was very anticlimactic for something that we didn't know where it was going to hit and what's going on. So I need to do better at figuring out what is my news source.
Right.
It's going down. And if anybody wants to recommend, I want to know because
absolutely. I'm the same way. I was like, this is crazy. I was thinking the same thing, not as into it as you were, but I was like, all right, I see that it's coming. It's called, I sent you that little blurb, they were talking about it on MSNBC the other day. And, that's why not as much coverage as you'd get from a rocket launch or something?
Don't know.
Even then, it's hard to get rocket launch coverage unless you're on the internet somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it is about numbers, right? Numbers and money and stuff. And I guess they figured not enough people cared. And it happened very late at night. So most people were in bed. I don't know. But so are you worried about the bet you made for your horse? Because they're saying right now that the horse has tested positive for steroids at the Kentucky Derby and that they're preparing to declare the runner-up the winner. So I was reading about the bets because like how does that work?
They paid them all.
They paid them all. I guess they do have clauses, and I don't understand a lot of it, but I wrote it down. I guess in the past they've had these issues, right? Because of course we need to know, like any other athlete, is the horse, pumped up with steroids? Now the trainer says that this horse has never gotten these steroids. Apparently the steroid, it's called.
It was a bagel. The horse had a bagel before the race.
Betamethasine is something that's allowed, but on race day, it has to be at a certain level. And they said the level was higher than what it was allowed, but the trainer says he's never had it. So what they're saying is, too bad if you bet on it. There's a clause that says what's done is done. So now someone's getting ready to file a lawsuit, someone that bet a lot of money on the runner-up. So let's see what happens, because when you bet, you assume there's certain criteria in place.
Yeah, you're happy if your guy won and you got paid.
Yeah.
You're not happy if you bet some other horse to win, because that just throws off the whole field. The whole field. Now this horse is assuming the first position, which may be a favorite, is being blocked by a horse that shouldn't be in that spot. So It's just not, let's just move everybody up one. It's like, well, you blocked this guy who was going to go to that hole, and he didn't have that hole because this horse was there. And it's not easy geometry.
They said in a past Derby not that long ago, I guess I don't know all the terminology, but a horse that won was actually declared not the winner because of interference.
Yeah, they can call interference right away.
So happened.
They'll call hold your tickets, because I like to yell that during the races.
Hold your tickets.
We were at that Derby party, and the host had a toy. Have you seen? We talked about this, right? The toy that it's like a horse game.
No.
Mechanical. Well, nope. Somebody else to look just like you. Anyway, it's got 6 plastic horses, and you turn it on, and they release it. And there's a vibration, and all these horses start going towards the finish line. And they finish 1 through 6, and you have friendly bets about who's doing what.
Yeah, how fun!
I yelled, "Hold your tickets" every single time, because I was declaring it was a photo finish every time.
Oh, I bet people loved that. Every single.
Can you stop? We're trying to enjoy this game. Who put you in charge of everything?
It's always the old white guy.
Hold your tickets.
Hold your tickets.
Here comes Beetlebomb.
Well, BTW, I had a good Mother's Day. Thanks for asking. It was a good day.
You never gave me a chance to ask. You asked me about Mother's Day. You were setting my ass up for.
You sent me a text and you checked on me on Mother's Day, which is very kind, because I really appreciate those little gestures. When people do that, it's very thoughtful. And I feel like I should be more thoughtful, because I thought this morning when I woke up, I should have probably texted my girlfriends to say Happy Mother's Day. But honestly, I was just trying to have a good Mother's Day myself. Yeah,
but honestly, F them, right?
No, F everybody. So we had it's still in the 50s here, Tom. We've gone back to the 50s.
How delightful. Is it nice or is it bad?
Yeah, I don't mind. I really, after living here as long as I have, I don't mind it at all, because I know what summers can be like here.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it.
we've hit summer now. It's going to hit 90 this week, and
Yeah.
it will be 90 until doomsday now.
No, this next week, the highest it's going to get, I think, is 72. So, you know, we're very lucky, but we had a rare sunny day early in the day. So we decided we wanted to go take a look around Staten Island. We haven't spent a lot of time in Staten Island, and we learned a lot of cool things about the community there, which when you live in New York, there's certain places that get made fun of, right? Oh, everybody wants to live in the city. Everybody wants to go to Manhattan. Brooklyn's pretty cool. Staten Island, are you fucking kidding me? Like, no.
Isn't there a garbage dump there?
Yes, that's part of it. And, you know, there's no good reason for people make fun of Staten Island. But the views from Staten Island are stunning, because when you go over the Verrazano Bridge, you see Manhattan, you see all the city, you see it. And so we started finding houses that have these great views. Like, why wouldn't you want to pay less? Live in Staten Island. You can take the ferry, which is free, by the way. You can take a bus, or you can drive on the bridge.
Socialists, you're ruining everything.
But it was a lovely day. You know, Alex kept saying, what do you want to do for Mother's Day? And honestly, as a mom, it's not like you want to have a big party or anything, right? You just want acknowledgement that being a mother is hard, and you want maybe a nice meal or something, right? I don't think it's too much
that you don't make or pay for.
Yeah. And so what we did was we went over, it was a lovely day. And here's the thing, Tom, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic, but we found this little park that was on the water. Now, I know with the pandemic, things are different, but more people are out, even in New York. We found this little park on the water. You could totally see all of Manhattan in the city. 3 people were there. Where do people go? Is it because it was Mother's Day and people were out at restaurants? I don't know. But we are walking around and taking pictures and going, what's the deal? Because it feels weird, right? Why is nobody here? So we had a glorious day. Then we decided we want a comfort meal. Like, what do you want? And Will's like, come on, just whatever you want, anything, because he's a cook, right? We ended up deciding we ordered, we like crab. So we had a lovely crab boil, and we watched a movie, and it was just lovely. We FaceTimed my mom. And so it was just one of those days where it's like, oh, how nice. You know, what a nice day.
What movie did you watch?
Oh, we watched What We Do in the Shadows. Did you watch that? It's actually a very funny comedy about vampires that is actually a series, and then they did a movie, and it's just, you would like it because it's a lot of boy humor. It's the irony of if you were a vampire, how scary would you be if you're like the nerd vampire, or the vampire that's kind of a dumbass, you know, and you go around, vampires are supposed to be so cool, and you're walking around going, I'm a vampire, you know. So it was a very funny movie, and it's hard for the 3 of us to find something we all genuinely enjoy. Normally I'll pick something if it's my movie night and they're looking at their phones more than they're looking at the movie. So it was nice to watch a movie that everybody enjoyed, and it was just a really good day. So
that's nice. How lovely. I started watching that Blockbuster thing, and then I fell asleep.
What Blockbuster?
I mean, didn't you tell me to read the last Blockbuster? That
was not me. I haven't watched that
one. That was the other girl that looked like you.
Yeah, that's the other girl. Is it any good? I mean, I could relate to it. I remember Blockbuster was a big part of my life when my kids were younger. Well, that was a big deal. We'd go on Friday nights to get.
I got 12 minutes into it, and then I passed out.
Okay. All right. So did you hear about the Chinese tourist that was walking on the glass bridge?
I love this joke.
That was walking on the glass bridge. Apparently in China, glass bridges that are see-through are a big deal because it's very spooky and very scary. Well, I have a photo I'm going to show you. Do you want to guess what happens to a glass bridge when 93-mile-an-hour winds hit it? Just guess. And imagine walking on a glass bridge and 93-mile-an-hour winds happen. What would you do, sir?
It's going to be swaying like crazy.
Can you think of anything else that could possibly occur?
I cannot.
I'm going to show you this picture. This just happened on May the 8th. And for anybody on iTunes, they're side by side, the bridge before the disaster with the glass and after. And you can see a man in the back. All the glass panels that are the floor that you walk on, most of them are gone.
Wow.
He's in the back clinging.
I see him.
Yes. So here's what happened. As you can see, some of the rails are pushed aside. So according to this story, this happened on the 8th, the winds hit, pieces started to fly. So he clung on. He was the only one on there, I guess, that was in danger. So of course, rescue teams came to try to help him. He was holding on for 35 minutes. Imagine holding on. 35 minutes is a long time to hold on when the floor that's keeping you alive is gone.
I know, but did he have somewhere to rest his feet or hook his feet into the thing?
The glass was intermittent and he was afraid to step on anymore.
Of course.
So he held on to the side pieces. The rescue workers couldn't get to him. He had to actually rescue himself. And
there's what can you do? Throw him a rope and wow.
Right. What can you do? So here's how the story ended. And this happened in China, that he had no physical injuries, but he is now in therapy. I mean, Tom, would you ever be able to sleep again without grasping something or being, I mean, I don't know what kind of therapy other than frying your brain to forget that ever happened.
That'd be crazy. You'd have to take a pill.
What kind of therapy could you do, Tom, where you forget that the glass floor broke underneath you?
So, I mean, I guess, was it a windy day? You don't get 94 miles an hour up from nowhere.
You know, the article didn't state that there was a buildup or that they told people to get off. It just simply said 93-mile-an-hour winds and that he was the lone person on there.
I mean, on the Skyway, if the winds get over 20 miles an hour, I think they shut the thing down. Yeah, I'm guessing 20, 30 miles an hour. There's a number there.
Well, one would think that it came up suddenly and that it was too late to do anything for the people that were on it. But isn't that the fear of doing those?
Of course. And they even have those fake glass. They've got they'll put a TV screen in there. And then when you step on it, some jackass will hit a button and the thing looks like it's shattered. And it's just joking.
No, what a funny joke. Enjoy the rest of your life. Have you ever, when you visited New York, did you guys ever go up to Freedom Tower or the World Trade to look at the views of New York? Did you ever do that?
I know I went to the Empire State Building. I did it. My marriage was over then at that point.
Well, at World Trade at the Freedom Tower, they have one little spot. They have one little spot that is glass that you can stand on to look down. It's just a small, so it feels secure enough, but it is scary. I've stood on it a couple times just to prove that I could do it, but it's horrifying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think John Hancock has the same thing. They build one out so you can go out 4 feet on a ledge, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a fear of heights or anything? I know you fly.
I would not like that.
Yeah.
I might do it on a bet, but I'd be holding onto something over here, whatever. Yeah, that'd be fun.
I saw that this morning and I thought I can't even get over it, and I'm just reading about it.
It's amazing. I mean, a hurricane is 120 miles an hour, something like that. Tornado.
Okay. For some reason, I thought once it hits 70, that's an official.
No, you're right. The different categories, category 1, category 3. I mean, I think they get as high as 150, but probably start around 70. Yeah. I feel bad. I've only lived in Florida for 38 years. You'd think might have a grasp on what a hurricane is.
I went to, what's that little museum there in Tampa where you can go in the tornado or the hurricane room and you can feel that's where I got it from, is that you can feel what that feels like to have those strong winds. So yeah, 93 would be a lot, and who knows how quickly it happened. I'm just glad that the fellow is in therapy and that he survived, because good Lord, your life will never be the same.
So what would you be doing if you wanted to capture, like Benjamin Franklin wanted to get lightning to strike the key? So he's out in a thunderstorm and he's flying a kite. I mean, that's the story, right? What would you possibly be doing? Like, you're waiting for this natural wind to come and you want to capture it in some fashion. Would you be out there with some sort of something or other? Yeah.
I don't know. As much as I think I like adventures, I don't like.
You'd think there'd be a reason for the guy to be on a bridge.
But I mean, who knows, right? Maybe it was just one of those random days where he was off work, and by the time you start crossing,
I don't think you get the. Do you think it's a work thing or is it a tourist trap?
It's a tourist trap. I think it's a treasure. I'm saying if he was off work that day and he thought, you know what'd be exciting today? I'm going to try that glass bridge out. But here's the thing. The gods were on his side. He survived and he taught himself that he could save himself, which is also a very cool thing.
I saw an interesting experiment. Just talking about saving yourself. I was reading about this. They put a rat in a beaker. I'm not all for torturing animals, but they put a rat in a beaker and then it would swim for 3 minutes and then give up. And then they would save it from drowning, but then would collapse, right?
Okay.
Then they'd put it in there again and it would last like 6 days because it knew it was going to be saved. So it would just keep on waiting to be saved. So it was all kind of a mental thing. I don't know whether I looked it up on the internet and I was like, this seems bizarre, but there was a couple corroborating sites and they kept on referring to the same experiment. So whether this really happened or not, it was an interesting thing.
No, I love stuff like that. What does that do to your psyche when you're a researcher?
So now this guy knows he can survive at anything. Get him back out there.
I mean, that I would love to know the follow-up story of how he lives the rest of his life. Like, will this turn him into a fraidy cat because he knows how horrifying, or is he now just like the ruler of his kingdom and he's going to try everything because he knows how brave he actually is?
Every day is a bonus day. You should be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was fascinating. I know you have a bunch of topics and I've kind of taken over.
No, that's fine. I wanted to talk about the 3 people everyone is.
Let's go.
Just saying, if you think about it, right? Your future is dependent upon what you do at this moment. So there's future Tom, and then there's moment Tom, and then there's what Tom did in the past. So if Tom doesn't take music lessons, Tom doesn't know how to play the piano in the future. But if past Tom took piano lessons, future Tom and present Tom knows how to play. That's true. It's like I was looking at this mess. This is clean, by the way. Okay. When I have those weekends when I'm working all the time, it's like, all right, we got to just move shit in here, move shit around. Yeah. Like, well. Yeah. Past Tom didn't want to put everything away. So now present Tom has to sit in a bunch of crap.
I've done that in my dining room. I got on some kind of a organizational binge recently and I organized a bunch of stuff. And then I thought, I'm organizing the kitchen. I ordered all these containers and they've been sitting on my dining room table for probably 2 weeks now because I just can't bear it. I look at them and go, I'm not feeling it right now. Will I end up just tossing them aside? I don't know.
And here's a spin. Okay, we talked about this off the microphone, but we'll talk about it now. Okay. Yes. So Patrick got 2 spice racks as a gift.
Yes.
From my brother and his daughter.
Yes. The big user of all the spices. Right.
So then Pat was challenged to organize the spices. I mean, it was a great gift. His spices, he loves to cook. He loves exotics.
He wanted to organize his spices, or did you guys?
No, but the spices were all over the place.
But does he feel better that way?
Absolutely. But I'm saying the way he alphabetized it. We talked about this, remember?
Yes, I do.
So over here, he's got 3 rows.
Yeah.
Here. And then it goes over here. He starts it down here, goes halfway, goes all the way, then all the way like this. It's insane. Nobody alphabetizes spices like that.
Does that work for him? Because this is such a good example of how we actually view things. Does that work for him? For me personally, you and I have talked about it. I would start at the upper left and do the alphabet and go across. That's how I learn. But maybe Patrick learns from the bottom up and the bottom up. And maybe that's why he, has the career he has. He needs to look at things in a different way.
Well, as humans, we can adjust to anything, right? If you had to start reading right to left in order to get information, you'd learn how to read right to left.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking, when I need the A, I'm down at the bottom, lower left. But here's the kicker, okay?
Yes.
I was looking for cinnamon the other day.
Yes.
Well, in where the C's should be on the spice rack, he's got P, pumpkin spice, because mostly that is cinnamon. So
holy shit, that's beyond what I could. Nope, I'm out. I'm out.
It's brilliant because I'm looking for cinnamon. I see the pumpkin spice. I go, oh, he's signaling me that this is equal cinnamon, pumpkin spice.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Good for him. Good for him that he's doing it that way. You know what? We all have our own way. I got into a little bit of a debate a while back, and I never saw it as funny until someone pointed out to me, you know, you love numbers. You love numbers, and you think in numbers. I don't. So we'll have the debate and you'll say, you know, 3%. And I'll go, no, that feels more blue to me. So we're very different, right? Well, once I was in this like couples class, right?
Go on.
And they said, can you tell us percentage wise, how in your marriage, percentage wise, how much do you feel like you're working as a team? How much do you feel like you're working as an individual? How much of the time are you having fun in your marriage? Now, most normal people, and I will acknowledge this now, I'm not normal. Most normal people would do their numbers so it adds up to 100%, right? Right? So I'm just in my own Melinda world thinking, you know what? 70% of the time I do this. You know, I do this 60% of the time. And I did it that way. So of course, everybody, all their numbers go in, and the guy leading the class looks at me and he goes, Melinda. And he breaks it down. And I said, okay, I hear what you're saying. And I know you want 100%. But just because I have fun 40% of the time doesn't mean I'm not working as a team another like 80%. You know what I mean? I was trying to rationalize. We never could agree. And of course, they agreed that I was wrong. But that's another example of how we all put our information together, right? Because I think it's unfair to go, well, just because I think we work as a team, this percent, why can't I say this? And it is, why does it have to be 100? Because to me, that doesn't make sense.
We have one pie. You can't have slices that don't exist in this pie.
But in my world, lots of slices that don't exist are a part of my life. That's how I've ended up where
and you know what? I agree with you. I can see where you're going with that, oddly enough.
Okay. All right.
Like, yeah, I feel like I'm giving 70%. I feel like I'm getting 30%. I feel 80%. Yeah. I could see how you'd have a gut reaction and not want to have it all add up to 100.
Because it was about a relationship. And so I couldn't break down the numbers in a way that made it 100% because it felt inauthentic to me. And I wasn't about to go by their rules to make their pie work out better. So they did not enjoy my participation on that test at all.
It's delightful. So I'm supposed to do comedy this Friday, and I have not been up in a long time.
The 20-minute one?
We backed it down to 10 to 15. I asked him how much time, and he goes, no, just 10 to 15. I thought it was going to be 20.
Okay.
So
that's not so bad, 10 to 15. And this is the one on the boat, right?
Yeah, should be fun.
How are you feeling about it?
I could do 10 minutes of old material. I could cobble that together, but I have to do some fresh stuff, and that's what it's all about.
But also, you know as well as I do, when a comedian works the crowd, it's just thrilling. And you could easily do 5 minutes of crowd work interspersed.
I've never done any crowd work.
I know that you don't do crowd work, but you can.
Of course, I think that would be my strength if I'd relax and could do it.
Well, it depends on how you feel. I just feel like you do crowd work every day of your life when you're around people. So
I wear people out with my crowd work.
wear them down.
But plus, let me say, as a feature act, middle guy, you're really not encouraged to do crowd work.
Okay, all right.
You want to save the crowd for the headliner because he may need to kill 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm not to contradict you. I hope that one day I'm doing crowd work, and that's that's a show.
That makes sense. Well, what are your parameters or guidelines as far as dirty language and all that?
It's interesting because it's a boat. It's going to be an adult show, so there's no parameters. But I don't want to do a bunch of dirty jokes. I'm working on one though. Hey, I just got my DNA testing back. Turns out I'm 9 inches black.
I'm going to just say no about everything about that. I'm going to say no to the no. I'm going on record. Please don't do that.
Well, I'll be doing that. That'll be my opener.
You live in Florida, so you can probably get by with it, but I don't recommend divisive stuff like
What's
that.
divisive about that?
Oh, well, because you're feeding into a known, I know you're going to say, oh, because it lifts up a certain culture and it brags about how big they are, but really it's divisive because
my bicep is 9 inches from here to here.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, let me know how it goes. Let me know. Here's what I'm going to tell you.
Name 2 things that begin with and end with a P. No, What's one thing that begins and ends with P? A P.
Begins and ends?
Did I tell you this one yet?
I've heard you say it, but I don't remember the answer anymore.
It's your day.
Oh. See how long it took me to even get that?
We get the boat could be back in the dock before we get that joke figured out.
Sorry. I've done a bunch of math this morning and I'm not myself. I had to do taxes. So I'm not myself at all. Yes. You know what? When you told that before, it got an immediate reaction. I remember that now. I was trying too hard to figure out and spell things in my head. I need to relax.
Did I tell you the roach joke?
I don't recall.
I don't know if those ultrasonic pest repellers work or not. It's when you plug something into the wall and it sends out a signal that only the bugs can hear. Anyway, I was having a bug problem. I put the ultrasonic pest repeller behind the toaster. I don't know if it worked or not, but the next day when I woke up, spelled out in crumbs was, do you mind if we change the station?
Oof. I think it's a good classic dad joke.
Right. That's dad joke, dad material.
Dad, are you portraying yourself? Are you doing the dad?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
You can't start out with a 9-inch joke and do the ultrasonic joke. I'm like a sailor.
The twin joke is always.
That's money. That'll get me started.
Money and the drinking alcoholic thing. Money. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
7 years sober.
Yeah. It's very good.
Answer 3 questions before we get started. 6'4", size 15, 3 times a week. Yes, ma'am. I like to play basketball 3 times a week.
There you go. That works. That works. Are you going to have, do you have?
You're sitting in the back. What's that?
Do you have a noisemaker so you can do the bottom bump? Would you do the horn? Oh, that works.
I'm wheezing.
The horn works. So I did find an interesting story. You tell me, have you heard this? Have you heard people complain on a regular basis that the McDonald's ice cream machines are always broken?
We talked about this the other day. Did we talk about this? I know my brother Patrick and I talked about this. There's a video, there's a show about this. Somebody did a documentary about this. Is this where you're going? Yeah.
I was talking about a TikTok, but I'm sure it's the same thing because I'm sure it's the same issue.
Yeah.
What was the documentary? What did they say?
There's a manufacturer, Taylor, makes the ice cream thing, and they won't allow, there's a kickback involved. And so this is the only machine that a franchise is allowed to buy. And they do have this regular maintenance problem.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Cleaning.
Machine will automatically shut off and you can't do anything about it. It self-cleans and takes 3 to 4 hours. You can only use this company and only, did it say in the documentary how much these service people charge every 15 minutes?
I didn't see the thing, but I know that it was like an hour documentary.
This was a TikTok story where someone did a TikTok and they go, hey man, here's the deal. Yeah, it seems like the machine's always broken because of this company. Now, I've never heard of anybody charging per 15 minutes. Have you? I think that's an odd thing to do, but they're saying there's specialized mechanics for these machines. According to this TikTok video, they charge $300 every 15 minutes while they work on the machine. But you have no choice as a franchisor with McDonald's. You must use this machine.
Taylor.
So it'll be interesting to see now that they said that Taylor's service and replacement parts on machines account for 25% of Taylor's company revenue.
It's insane.
Shame on them.
Apparently there's a bypass. There's like a little USB insert thing that somebody's solved this thing to make it work smoothly, but Taylor won't let them do it. McDonald's are saying no. There's a kickback involved here. Someone's getting an S load of money.
You think now that it's out, maybe they'll do something, because that's like shame. That's so shameful.
It's crazy. Apparently, this is the same type of machine that Wendy's uses. That you never pull up to a Wendy's and say they're not working.
I've never heard Wendy say you can't get your Frosty. There is like, how many, which kind?
Right. You want a bucket? You want the you want the usual?
I love the Wendy's Frosties. They're so good. I don't know how many. Do you know how many calories are in one of those things?
I think only 10 or 15.
I like yogurt. So yeah, I thought I saw it.
A lot of calories in ice cream.
Because you're a TikTok guy, and I saw this. I'm like,
I love TikTok.
Yes, I know you do. What's your latest TikTok video that you made?
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
I'm gonna sound like a weirdo, but I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
This is just an observation.
Yes.
This is a medium. I need a medium and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
So, okay, girls, there's a woman is in a bathing suit, right?
Yes.
And she gladly shows off her cleavage.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
But when it comes time to turn around, she's like, she's not so much. A woman will show 90% of the time her bust line, but 10% her butt. Whenever she wants to, she's walked away, that's when it's cut. Really? So why is a woman more comfortable showing her bust or her butt? Go. You with the monkey.
Me with the monkey. I feel like since the Kardashians' butts have become quite the sexual symbol. I mean, women were known for taking herbs and doing crazy things to make their butts bigger. As a woman myself, my guess is that we prefer that you know our face and you see who we are. So maybe that's part of it. And it's kind of a normal part of how you show yourself to the world is showing the front of you. I don't think a lot of us, well, I know for me personally, I don't like looking at my backside. I just think that's ridiculous. I don't like it.
Well, I'm just saying, as an observer of the human condition, the ladies seem to be much more comfortable with showing the front, not their faces, but torso, whatever. They're selling this part where they're not selling the other part.
So are you saying, like on dating apps, you'd rather just see a bunch of butts instead?
No, not a dating app. You're never going to see that on a dating app. I don't see a lot of that on a dating app. TikTok.
More women show cleavages. I feel like I'm not a TikToker. On Instagram, I see just as many backsides from women. There's a whole new thing about some kind of, on Amazon, these new type of pants that, like, not pants, but like a leotard that women are buying that really
like a yoga pant. It looks almost like it almost looks like a 3D design.
Yes, that's like, I feel like butts are a big thing right now.
Pardon the pun. You got to say pardon the pun.
Pardon the pun. Well, speaking of that, do you know what the most popular dating sites are for men? I looked this up for you. What are the most popular?
Well, Tinder, Hinge, Bumble. Tinder is
the number one, and it's because of the idea that it's for a pickup, it's for a easy, very non-committal kind of a gathering, is still the understanding according to this. Yes, I know people will legitimately date on Tinder. It did start out as a sexual thing, so there's still some of that illusion of it right now.
Most of the time, I'm not on Tinder anymore, but most of the time it's like women would say, "Not here for a pickup." Almost 100% of the time is their first line.
Yeah,
and I respect that. It is what it is.
Well, you got to let people know, so then you're clearing out the air. Now, guess what the best dating sites are as far as being able to get a date successfully for men over 40. What are the best dating sites, do you think, for a man to get a reasonable date?
Taiwanese boy brides, Russian citizenship. I don't know. I mean, I just know those three dating sites. I don't know what else would do. Hinge or Bumble?
According to this article, the number one best site for men over 40 to actually get a reasonable date.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Is this a paid site or a free site?
It is not. I purposely do not look for ads or paid sites. This is
like Match.com would be probably number one. Of course.
You have to scroll through all the ads to get to a legitimate article from someone that has no investment and no monies for these, right? So this is not an ad for a dating site.
So this is a dating site you can get
the article is called, it's from a newspaper called Inside Hook, and it was about all different kinds of dating, okay? And it's not an ad. The number one site, according to this female that wrote this, is Bumble, because the women come to you. So it takes a lot of pressure off the men, and more men are apt to get dates because women appreciate being able to make that first approach. They're not good at follow up, but they're good to make it's easier for them as opposed to men chasing the women. That's number one. Number two is Hinge. They said that Hinge is owned by Tinder, but it's slightly elevated and it has a more mature air than Tinder. I never did Hinge, so I don't know what Hinge is about. Have you tried that one?
Yeah, Hinge is fine. Yeah, I don't think there's I would agree with that assessment.
Okay.
That it doesn't, it's not. It's just everyone's just posting and giving and jabbing.
The number three is one I hadn't heard of, so I want to know if you've tried this one. It's called The League.
The Justice League.
It says The League is an app for adults who have their shit together and their biggest their biggest currency is time, that they don't, which I feel like before the pandemic, that was always the hardest part of dating, right? Is like, man, it's such a big investment to like go do that. So here's how it works. I like this idea. The app sends only 3 to 5 prospective matches per day. That's it. And then you have 14 days to respond. So you've got 2 weeks to figure out. If you don't, you lose them. So it's not as quick as Bumble. What I liked about Bumble was it forced me to make a decision, because once he responds, you have 24, 48 hours, something like that. So I thought The League was interesting. I don't know much about it, but I'd be willing to like look at it down the road and see, like, I love the idea of having better boundaries and parameters of,
I'm not really on these things much anymore, but I thought Bumble was odd. The 24-hour clock was odd, because let's say you go out on a date with somebody on a Friday and then somebody pops up on Saturday with a 24-hour clock. It's like, well, I feel disingenuous engaging with another person if I'm still exploring this other relationship, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All I know is the female founder of Bumble is now a billionaire. So it's working.
Oh, is that it? So everything a billionaire does is right. Yeah. Is that what you're saying? Some money makes you right?
Yeah, okay. Money makes you right.
That's, what? That's the topic. That is the title of today's broadcast.
I don't feel that way, but I love the idea that no matter what the dating app is, it's going to make money, guys. People are trying to find partners, and they're, according to these articles I was reading, in 2013 and 2014 is when dating apps became more acceptable. Remember when they first came out and everybody's like, oh, that's sketchy. What are you doing? Don't meet strangers online. 2013, 2014 was when I was like, I'm not embarrassed to talk about it. Right. Now they're saying it's the number one way that people meet each other.
It's crazy. I mean, I can't remember the last time I met somebody organically, like at a bar or at a baseball game, or it's been years. I'm sorry?
How can you do it now with the pandemic? Is there a way to do that?
Almost not. I mean, we're less pandemic-y here in Florida.
When was the last time you genuinely met someone that you did end up going out on a date with in real life? Do you remember where you met somebody in real life? Organically, no setups.
It's been a long time. I don't think I've met anyone organically since I got divorced 10, 11 years ago. It's all been online. I don't remember meeting somebody I've had very few. And then before I got married, a couple, and then it was all organic.
Right.
So no, I don't think I've ever met anybody organically, like at a party or at a bar. Or at the car wash, or peeping in her window.
Well, I'll tell you this, the fall before I moved to New York, before I knew I was moving to New York, I was out with some girlfriends for Cinco de Mayo, and we went to the Dunedin Brewery. And we were just having a girls' night. And when we went to the brewery, it was really dead. And we were bummed, because it's fun to go into a place that has a lot of energy, right? It's fun to just even if you're not trying to hook up, it's just fun to feel the energy and the vibe. And it feels weird if there's hardly anybody there. So we went outside, and there was a picnic table with a few people, and there were a couple guys there that looked kind of interesting. So the girls I was with, I said, let's just chat up these guys, not thinking anything about anything. We ended up chatting with them. They were much younger than us, but I did end up dating one of the guys for a few months. But I made the approach. What I did was I took a picture and I said, he said, hey, I'd like to get that picture. I said, send me your number.
Look at you.
And that's how it all began. I sent him the picture. So I gave him the opportunity and then he responded back. So it was fun, but that's the last time. So that was 2012 was the last time I had an organic.
I have to adjust my parameter. I did have one organic meeting, probably in the same ballpark of 2012-ish.
Okay.
That I was down in Tarpon Springs at like an open market.
Yes.
Thursday night, Friday night, first Friday or something.
Yes.
And then Patrick and I met two ladies.
Okay.
I ended up dating one of them for a couple of months, and then Patrick did not, but it was fun.
But when did you go to Vegas? I feel like you guys met some ladies when you went to Vegas organically. Weren't you?
Oh, that's right. Ziplining. But I was still married then.
Oh, okay.
I didn't meet anybody. Patrick met somebody.
Right. Okay.
And I kind of introduced him to her because I was like, there's nothing for me here.
So what do you think? If you want to meet people organically, where would be the places you would feel like would be a comfortable enough environment other than a bar?
You know what? I tell you this, allow me to recommend going to those, like you and I went to those, beer festivals at St. Pete Beach or downtown Safety Harbor. Those are nice. There's gatherings. Nice. See, there's this it's a crapshoot as to who's single, who's what. You don't have any idea for status at all.
Yeah.
But whatever, you can still talk and find out what's going on, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. And also what we talked about before is invest yourself in things you enjoy. If you enjoy kayaking, go do that. Do some of those meetups because meetups are not made for dating. They're made to meet people. And then if you organically meet someone, it's nice, but there's no pressure to meet. We
are starting brunches here. We're going to have brunch and pool volleyball. It's going to be 90 degrees in 2 weeks. So we just can't have a brunch. So we got to have pool action. You got to go, darling. It's 12:54 here.
I've lost. Oh, good Lord. Okay. So yes, well, I'm trying to think. There was something else I wanted to wrap with. Of course, I can't remember right now. I'm doing my taxes and I'm never myself when I'm doing, because, tax day was pushed back to May 17th. So instead of feeling relaxed about it, I push it back so I can ignore it some more. And now I have to deal with it.
One more month of stress.
So we'll be back on Wednesday with everyone. And you've got more shows. When do you want to share what your shows are for?
Oh, I just have a show tonight. That's after tonight, I'm done. Nothing.
What time's your show tonight?
10 p.m. Big sweet spot. 10 p.m. with Adam on the Monday night show. That's a big show. I
loved working with Adam.
He's great. You know what? I don't hate working with anybody at Home Shopping. I find them all to be professional. Even, we all have our favorites and whatever, but they all hit the marks and they can all do. I mean, Callie hit one out of the ballpark the other day. This is crazy.
Callie's great. I definitely have hosts I hate at HSN, but that's why I'm not working there anymore. There are plenty of great hosts. Adam is definitely one of them. I was there when he started, as you were too. And it was lovely meeting him and watching him progress. He is a good and lovely human being.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yep. And if he's faking it, I'd be surprised. Right?
That's great. All right. Well, any sexy tips for us?
No.
Why are you always surprised that I do this?
Well, I had that back thing all locked and loaded. You should stretch. Sexy tips. Trying to visualize how the other person's approaching the interaction.
That's
you're always in your own head. How does the other person see you? Right?
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. It's hard to do when you're caught in your own head to understand what the other person's going through. That's a good one. All right. We'll see everybody on Wednesday. I'm Melinda McKinsey.
Thanks for calling that a tip. My name's Tom Wise. And you've been unpacking some shit. You got to go to work in 3 minutes. I'll talk to you later.
Gotta go. All right.